I'm pretty good. Good morning.
Got about 2 minutes, and then we'll go on.
Okay.
I went to your YouTube site and looked at what several of those little clips. That's amazing. Um, so I'll just kind of introduce you, and you can take off and say whatever you want to about that. Tell people about how they can uh, view those.
Okay.
Just we'll help tell the story.
All right. That's great. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I do appreciate you allowing me this chance to voice what's going on here. And again, thank you.
Yeah. It's Is it Alzheimer's? Is that what he's, or is it another form of dementia? Is it Alzheimer's?
It's another form of dementia. It's FTD. That's frontal temporal lobe. Some may know it as
Okay.
also being Pick's disease.
Okay. Is the similarities to Alzheimer's? I mean, is it?
In some shape or form, they are similar, but for the frontal temporal lobe, it's more to the left front part of the brain that's severely affected, which impacts your ability to comprehend things. Of course, your ability to remember things, and your inability to kind of restrain yourself. And there's an extreme change in personality, either from good to bad, bad to good, emotional, angry. So yeah, there's a great impact on one's personality when going through the frontal temporal lobe dementia.
Is this brought on? What causes this? Do they know?
Uh, well, they really don't know. They can't pinpoint exactly where it comes from. As far as our history, it doesn't appear to be it's genetic. Although my father's father had Alzheimer's, but he didn't. It wasn't diagnosed until he was about 85, I would say, which is more acceptable, more normal. Whereas in my father's case, he was diagnosed with FTD when he was 64. So, and before that, there was strong signs of there was subtle signs too of something was going on. His memory was severely affected, and he lost a lot of compassion for many different things and his ability to understand things.
Okay. I'm gonna. I'll say a few things, and then I'll come right to you. You're listening to your local station, WELD 690 AM in Fisher. It is 16 minutes past the hour. Let's take a brief look at the weather. Then, as I told you in the last hour, we have a special guest that we'll be talking to on the phone, Mr. Ken Keene. It is currently 62 degrees outside our studios here in beautiful downtown Fisher, West Virginia. Scattered showers in the forecast, mainly after 1 today. 70 is the forecast high. Tonight, a 60% chance of rain, mainly after 11 p.m., between a tenth and a quarter of an inch possible. Saturday, a 70% chance of rain, mainly after 2 p.m., cloudy, a high of 62, again, tenth to a quarter of an inch possible. More rain Saturday night and Sunday. Labor Day, they're calling for sunny skies with a high near 81. We're not going to get nearly the rain that they were saying was possible. At 17 minutes past the hour, we're going to go to the phone now and talk to Mr. Ken Keene. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm pretty good. Good morning, Steve, and thank you for taking my call.
Cindy Salvadori. I'm not sure the connection that you all have, but she encouraged you to call me somehow. She got in touch with you. She was talking about this the last time we had her on the show, and I'm just going to cut you loose. There's this YouTube site that I went to yesterday, and you are chronicling the advance of a disorder that your dad is experiencing. And I'll just let you explain it and tell about this YouTube site, and I'll try to ask some pertinent questions as you go along. So just take off.
Yes, yes. My name's Ken Keene. I'm the my father, Ken Keene Sr. He's been diagnosed with frontal temporal lobe dementia. early onset at the age of 64. He's now 68. And it took a number of years before I made the decision to document my father entering deeper into many different stages of frontal temporal lobe dementia. The reason being is I was very concerned with putting his business out there to the public, and I was concerned with his dignity. Well, July of 2017 is when I made the decision to launch the series, and it was a hard decision to make, but I made it. And I'm happy I did, because I didn't realize just how many people out there would be affected by what I'm doing. And the validation was extremely strong. They were very receptive, and the love and the appreciation and the beautiful comments that I was receiving, it was overwhelming. And I knew that I made the right decision then. And now it's fueling me even more to continue on with this, and to try and help raise awareness and enlighten people just how debilitating this condition is, and how many people worldwide are affected by this. So,
Was the family supportive of this from the very get-go, or were they wondering how this was all going to turn out?
well, I'll tell you what, my immediate family, I think they had trust in what I was doing, because I'm very, very close with my father, and I was there by his side for a quite number of several years during this experience, and I don't think they actually were on board with it. They were accepting of it, and they thought that it would probably maybe do some good, not just for myself, but for others as well. But I do have family who I don't think they don't know about it. They do not know about it. I think they know about it now, but I'm sure there's some opinions, but they may keep it to themselves. And I understand it is a sensitive issue. But I think ultimately where we're at now, they may have a change of heart. Um, you know, a lot of what.
I was just going to say I went to the site and I watched some of those clips, and it's obvious that your heart's in the right place, and you're trying to do something wonderful. But I think an issue that a lot of people deal with, even with joining support groups, they don't like to talk about it. Somehow they feel like if they talk about it, they're somehow exploiting this disease.
Mhm.
And I imagine that's what you kind of personally wrestled with. But I think I think you made the right decision. But had to be a struggle for you too, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I'll tell you, my tears don't lie, and I've been shedding them for quite some time now. And I'm trying to figure out, like, what could I do to possibly put a positive spin on this. And I guess I was inspired by some of what other people were going through in my personal interaction with some of the people in the support groups. And I was getting strength, and yeah, I was struggling with it for sure. Because especially with my father, he was a very private man prior to his diagnosis. And I understood that, because I feel that way myself. But also at the same time, the personality that my father has now, he's very, very outgoing, and he's just full of love, and he's constantly expressing himself and telling people how beautiful and handsome and all that stuff, how they are. And I'm thinking it can't be all that bad, because I know it could be much worse. My father could be violent and aggressive and angry and quiet, but now he's coming out with this incredible personality. It's a little much. It's very extreme, but it's funny and entertaining at the same time. And I think we could maybe utilize this to help instill hope in people, and shed some laughter, and give motivation if possible. And that's just my perception of it.
Hey Ken, I want to interrupt you just briefly because
Okay.
I want you to get it out now, and I want to come over it several times during the brief conversation we have,
Okay.
and that is where people can watch these videos.
Okay, if you go to YouTube, youtube.com, and just search The Journey with Tough Ken Amon. Tough Ken Amon, that's actually a location in Pennsylvania, Tough Ken Amon, PA. But I'll spell that out. It's The Journey with Tough Ken Amon. It's spelled T as in Tom, OUGHKENAMON. Kenaman. So Tough Ken Amon or Tough Ken Amon. So there's a story behind that, and that's a nickname that my father kind of gave to himself a number of years, and it's part of his script today that he constantly tells over and over and over again. So
I saw that he made a big point about that was his name, and I wondered how in the world that came to be. I didn't see that. I didn't watch all of them, obviously. Tell me the story about Tough Ken Amon.
okay, Tough Ken Amon. My father used to work for Pico, Philadelphia Electric, and it was a place he would visit quite often with his utility truck, dropping off utility poles in that area. One day he's parked in front of a big sign. I think it's an exit sign. It says Tough Ken Amon, London Grove. And he's just sitting there looking at the sign. And this was when he was about 60 years old. This story started to develop. He was waiting for a couple of contractors that were supposed to be there in 20 minutes time. They didn't arrive for another 2 hours. Well, at the time, he was getting a little angry and annoyed, and he's thinking, I'm going to give these guys an earful and say something about this. And he's looking at the sign, and he just started thinking to himself, yeah, the town, Tough Ken Amon, they named the town after me. I'm tough. My name is Ken, and I'm a man. I'm Tough Ken Amon. And it was like a joke. And he made a joke of it, and he didn't believe it. It was just, he was playing around. I guess you could say that was when his mind was somewhat normal. Well, over the years, that story has evolved and changed, and now he believes it. He truly believes it. And I remember the day that he was in my aunt's house on a family get together where it just like a switch went off, and he said to everyone there, he goes, yeah, they named a town after me. And I pulled my dad aside. I said, Dad, do you really believe that? He goes, yeah. And that day, I think it was that night, I went home with him and I brought up the laptop and I tried to explain to him that actually that's a name that was, it stems from an Indian, I don't know what you call it, but it was predominantly an Indian area. And that's where the name back in the 1800s came from. And he wouldn't believe it. He's like, no, they named that town after me. I know they named that town after me. So I would say that was around the age of 63. It was a joke from the age of like 59 up to 62. And then all of a sudden at 63 to 66, it became a reality. And now today, that's his script. He's Tough Ken Amon. And they named the town after him.
So how long have you been chronicling this on the video?
I started exactly on July 5th. Currently, I have there's 13 full videos, episodes I call them, and I have about 13 little preview snippets that I just uploaded recently. So a total of 26.
Okay, so that July of this year.
Yes.
So it's the disease has been progressing for how many years?
I would say since the age of 57. There were subtle signs of memory loss. I didn't know that it was something bigger than what we thought it was back then. We just thought he was getting older.
So when was he diagnosed with this?
At the age of 64.
Okay. And what is the prognosis?
Well, he has frontal temporal lobe dementia. This form of dementia affects 2 to 5% of those who are diagnosed with dementia. There's many different forms of it. And there's something interesting I wanted to share was the rate in which people are being diagnosed worldwide is alarming. Currently, there's an estimated 50 million people with some form of dementia, and that number's estimated to double in about 15 years. So the rate in which people are being diagnosed it is alarming. So it's a great concern of ours.
And I was asking you before we went on, really don't have a cause for this. Did I understand that right?
Well, they say it could be environmental. It could be due to your lifestyle. Of course, the different changes in your vascular changes could affect, and a lack of sleep and poor diet. These things could impact how your brain functions and things like that. But to say that there's an exact cause as to why people are experiencing dementia, I don't think there really is a clear cut answer to that.
Your is your mom still alive, or is she?
Yes, she is.
Okay. How does she feel about all this?
I tell you, Steve, we've gone through so many different stages of emotions over the years, and it seems like one thing after another. The most disheartening thing is when there's confirmation that your loved one is diving deeper into the next stage of dementia. When he does something or they do something that's either erratic or it's a moment you won't forget. But currently, right now, she's handling it. I guess you could say we're like kind of on autopilot while we're able to consciously handle it and live with it. The reality sets in every so often and rears its ugly head, and it's upsetting. There's always going to be a void there, definitely going to be a void. But my mother had to go through a tremendous adjustment trying to get used to the fact that her mate is not going to be in the same bed with her. He's not going to be there to take the wheel and continue doing what a husband does in the house. And he was very involved. He was very in control of things, and my mother was used to that. Now she's got to take on new responsibilities that he was always doing for a number of years, and there's been challenges for her. It's all new, but yeah, it's been an emotional roller coaster.
Well, I've taken up a lot of time already. I want to make sure you get out the message that you want to convey. I know you're a lot of people are finding out about this, and I again tell people how to get to these videos.
Okay, again, it's if you go to YouTube, YouTube.com, and just search "The Journey" with Tough Ken Amon. It's where you'll find us. It's just a father and son. Uh, I'm an Air Force veteran, and my father's an Army veteran, and I'm documenting his battle with frontal temporal lobe dementia. And the objective behind the video series is to raise awareness, is to instill hope, and share with others what we're going through, and hopefully it will bring some type of some kind of maybe education, inspiration, entertainment, some laughter, and let people know that they're not alone. And I would hope that people, if you're interested, please search us out, and I think you'll have a different appreciation for those who are suffering or dealing with this. And if you're dealing with it yourself, I think it might be a source of strength for you as well. It's helping me as well. Every now and then I'll go back to the videos and it makes me smile. I might shed a tear, but I'm getting something from it, and I feel like it's helping me cope with the reality of all that's going on with my father.
Is this form of dementia is it at all predictable as far as how quickly it progresses, or is it just you just take it from one week to the next?
Well, from the neurologist's standpoint, it is predictable. I mean, certain behaviors will denote just what type of dementia you're probably going to end up having. And as far as my standpoint, yes, I can sort of predict some of what's going to happen with my father based on the stages in which we enter, how long we're there for, and how he is behaving. So, although I still don't know what the next stage will be and when it'll come, I feel like I have some type of anticipation, and I have my personal prediction as to what we might be in store for in the next 6 months, because I see a pattern. So,
Well, I just encourage everyone to check this out, The Journey and Tough Ken Amon on YouTube, and I watched several of them. I was just fascinated by it. I glued to the screen, and in what I saw, there were some tears that came to my eyes, and also some laughter too, and so you're accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish, and I hope a lot of people hit on that and watch it. Um, did you produce? One thing I wanted to ask. They seem so very professionally done. Are you producing these yourself?
Steve, I'm doing it, and the main where it's all coming from is my heart and what makes sense to me. I was always a creative person, but I'm putting my integrity into this because it means that much to me, and I'm very passionate with it. And I do have a little bit of experience doing some videography work for a local gym that I belong to and helping promote their business. But this, you wouldn't believe it. I'm just using my phone. I'm using my phone, and I have some pretty good editing software. And I'm just putting,
Right.
yes, and I'm putting my talents into this and just trying to do a decent job. And
Well,
but thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. That's nice to know.
it's really slick. I never would have dreamed. Of course, I'm an old fogey. I can't keep up with this technology. You did that on your phone. That's amazing.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you.
it looks really slick. It looks really slick, and you do your father proud. And there's it has to be heart wrenching, and I imagine there are some voices who would try to put you down on this, but I think you're doing a good thing, and I think years from now you'll be able to look back. Your family will look back at this, and something you'll be proud of. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Godspeed, and call in from time to time and tell us how things are going.
I will, Steve. Hey, thank you so much. And again, I appreciate the platform in which you're extending to me to talk with the audience. So thank you so much. And I will be in touch.
Okay, God bless.
Thank you.
We'll see
Same
you.
to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.